Well, this is our second pineapple of the week that we've picked off of our own plants, and that's just about perfect right there. So if you buy them in the grocery store, chances are they're going to look like this. They're going to be green. They might have a slight yellow spot here and there, or maybe on the bottom, but that's what they're going to look like. This is what you want them to look like when you pick them. So once you pick a pineapple, they do not get any sweeter at all. So when they turn yellow, they are basically decomposing. They're not one of the fruits that will keep getting sweeter and ripening as time goes. Once you pick it from the vine, that's it. That's all the ripe that it's going to get. So when you get one that's yellow like this and you pick it, the first one this week we picked, we cut it up, let the kids try it, and they were shocked. Even Christian comes, he's like, I've never tasted a pineapple that tasted like that before. Yeah, it makes a difference. A normal pineapple has that tart, kind of sour taste, but it can be somewhat sweet. These do not have any tartness whatsoever. It is straight sweetness, and it is amazing. If you've never tried a vine-ripe pineapple before, get yourself a top and plant it and grow your own. You can grow them anywhere. If you live in colder climates, just bring it in the wintertime. That's what we do. We're in the northern part of Florida, so we get the tropical weather, but we still get freezes and stuff in the wintertime, and we just have them in containers and we move them in during the wintertime. So you can grow them pretty much anywhere. Highly encourage it. These taste delicious. The hayfield is looking amazing. It is really getting thick. The hay is starting to send up the seed head shoots. I mean, it just looks really, really good out there right now. So the goal is, here in the next week or two, we're going to go ahead and try to cut. Normally, I will wait about 8 or 9 weeks before we cut the hayfield, just so I can get as much as I can and do it one time. We're going to change it up this year a little bit, though, because in the past few years, leaving it go for 2 months, the weeds really start to come on strong, and I'm trying to eliminate a lot of these stemmy, woody weeds from being in the hay. I don't want a real coarse hay. I'd rather have a higher quality, finer hay. So we're going to try to cut it. Now, weather permitting, of course. We have been getting a lot more rain, not necessarily all at once. It's kind of just each day a little bit at a time. So it's not ideal for hay cutting, but we've got a hurricane rolling in. This was probably supposed to be here Sunday night into Monday morning. So we're probably going to get, they're saying, between 6 and 8 inches of rain. So after that, it really should be doing great. And normally once a hurricane goes through, it pulls all of the weather with it for a few days. So it might be that we can cut it right after the storm, and with all that rain, it might come back pretty quick. So we might cut twice depending on how much we get out of this cutting, but we'll see. Our laying hens, these are the next generation of laying hens. We've had them out here on pasture pretty much their whole lives, and they're growing. I think they will be due to start laying in another 4 or 5 weeks. So we're going to be moving them into the coop pretty soon. We were going to leave them out here on pasture, but I haven't had a chance to build the second hoop coop yet, and we have our meat birds just come in. So I'm going to need somewhere for them to go in about 2 weeks. So we're going to leave them out here probably for another week or so, and then we'll transfer them over, and that way it'll be ready to go for the meat birds. While we're walking by, I wanted to show you all our cucumbers. So this is why it's so hard to grow anything in the summer here in northern Florida. The bugs destroy everything. These are cucumbers, or were. Now I got some organic spray and sprayed, and now you can see there are a lot of new green leaves coming up in here. So I think we saved some of their lives. I'm not sure about these plants down here. They're pretty rough looking. But yeah, I didn't spray them with anything, and they got the little worms on these, and they did this. They had them all looking like this in about 3 days time. It's absolutely crazy. course, we got some flowers, some zinnias, and some tomato plants growing in here that are doing good. They haven't started to produce much yet. And then we've got some pumpkins that are growing out here. So nice little late summer crop to fill our boxes. And then the herb garden that we did the shelter on, I made a video on that. It helped our herbs last a lot longer, but they did not make it. This is the rosemary bush, the oregano, and the thyme. There's still some thyme alive over there on that side. And if you look down in here, there is still a little bit of oregano alive. So it's still alive. And the thyme's still alive over along that side. But it's that morning sun's hot enough that it cooked them all. Howdy do, Charlotte. We've been rotating the cows back and forth between here and on the other side over there. And they have that eat down a lot this week, so we've moved them back over here. There's a little bit of grass for them to eat over here again. So these logs my brother actually dropped off for me. Those are going to be sawmill logs we'll be using in a future episode. But the cows are all happy out here grazing this morning. Here's our little chicken nuggets. They're about 4 days old now. They're doing really good. He thinks he's a big chicken already. While filming my last video, my camera got knocked over by one of the feeder pigs and it broke my gimbal. So I haven't been able to film since then, but I finally got my new gimbal in. But in the meantime, we did get a little bit of work done. So we had this gate that was right here. As you see, that is no longer there. We got rid of that. We went ahead and built this corner brace because this gate is going to go in the corral back there, which we will be doing soon. I was planning on doing it today, but with the storm coming, kind of got to change priorities up and get a shelter finished up for Bella, because I'll show you why. She looks like she's getting ready to drop babies. Miss Bella's chilling over there under her water. I still have not gotten her water dish changed out, but that'll be happening probably today as well. She is within a few days of being ready, date-wise, to have babies. She's not going to get up so you can see, but she's really milked up. And her back end's kind of swelling a little bit, so I have a feeling it will be this week. Changes in barometric pressure seem to trigger labor for animals, and probably for people too. I don't know, never paid that much attention, but with the hurricane, the barometric pressure drops quite a bit. It's a very low pressure center of circulation that comes with a hurricane, and we're going to be pretty near the eye as it comes in. So I would not doubt during that storm or right around it her going into labor and having those. So last night I started on this and got as much done as I could where we could carry it. We got it carried and put in here. Now I just got to finish the roof, put the paper on it, and that'll be ready to go. So we'll see. We might have some more babies this weekend. These little guys and girls are growing. Let's see if I can squat down here. What's up, everybody? How you doing? How you doing? Hey, Mama. How's Mama doing? Mama's a good girl, too. All of these guys and girls are sold. They will be leaving the farm in about 2 weeks. Hard to believe. Time goes fast. It's always fun having baby animals on the farm. It's a lot of work and a lot of money to feed them, but you know, we try to have them sold. That way when they hit 6 weeks, they can head to their new homes. It don't always work that way, but it did work this time. So once she's weaned, and then few weeks when she goes back in with the boar, we're actually going to turn Ginger in with the boar as well. So it's time for her to be bred, and that way we'll have some purebred Hereford babies come spring. This little guy's still chugging along. He's gotten pretty big. He's the one with the hernia. We're still undecided on what we're going to do. I went back and forth on whether we're going to butcher him or just send him to the market. Haven't still decided, but in about 4 weeks, once it starts to cool down a little bit, one of these guys is going to be getting slaughtered, because they are plenty big enough. I'd say he's probably about 300 pounds, if I had to guess. Solid. And this one here, he's pretty stout. He's probably, I'd say, 250, 275. Could be deceiving though, but they're both looking good. And then we're gonna keep one off of Bella's litter that she has this time for our next butcher pig. Yeah, you can see she's ready. She's really dropped. Don't worry, Bella, I'm gonna get that house done for you today. Big Red chilling in the shade. He's a good boy. Ain't you, buddy? It's hot, ain't it? Well, it has definitely been crazy busy for us. We have been, we've actually gotten less appointments now than we had. Like last month, we had like 20 appointments for baby Elena, and that's probably down to about 15 now. So, but we'll take it. We are so thankful. I'll take you in just a minute and show her to you. She is no longer in her leg cast. So she was originally supposed to be in leg cast 6 to 8 weeks, and then they were going to do a stretch on her tendon on the one foot, possibly both if it needed it, and then she would be in cast for 3 weeks solid until that was stretched good. At 3 weeks, she was already ready for the tendon stretch, so they put her in the tendon stretch, put her in the cast for the 3 weeks, and so she's out of those already. So that was half the time that they originally thought that it was going to take. So that was a huge blessing. It even surprised the doctors how fast she responded. So we're thankful. And that was for her club feet. So both feet were clubbed. One was really bad, one wasn't as bad. And so that's all taken care of. She's in boots with a brace now, and she'll be in those for 3 months solid, and then it'll go to wearing them at nighttime, and that way she'll learn to crawl and walk and all that sort of thing, and she'll only have to wear those at nighttime. So still much better, because now she can get a bath, she can get her clothes changed, she's not in those heavy casts, and she's doing really good. Her therapies are going really well. Of course, just like always with life, you know, everything has its challenges. She has reflux like 95% of our other babies have. Very, very rough reflux, so it makes feeding interesting. She has a slight case of laryngomalacia, which is a breathing issue. So a couple of our other kids, including James actually had it bad enough he had to have surgery. We had to take him to the emergency room when he was little, because at 2 weeks old, when he would cry especially, his whole chest and neck started sinking in, and he would turn blue like around the lips, and scared us to death. We rushed him to the emergency room, and we were right to do so, because we had more doctors in that room for him than I've ever seen in a room for somebody before. And they got him in and did surgery on him and was able to take care of that. And we've had 1 or 2 other children that's had the same issue, just wasn't as bad. Thankfully, hers seems to not be bad. We've been through several doctor's appointments this week for it, including a pulmonologist, and They've checked her oxygen levels, everything's good. Her chest does not sink in. It's just noisy breathing, basically. And they're sending her for a swallow test just to see if it's something to do with another condition she started with having, and that is she's throwing up her whole entire bottle as soon as she's done eating. Sometimes it's right away, sometimes it's up like an hour later. She'll start to gag and then throw up. We thought it was reflux related. Took her to the doctor again the other day, and the doctor said it might be some other thing. I don't remember the name of it. Weird name. It's basically at the base of the stomach where it leads into the intestines. It is like a restriction there. So it's not allowing the food to get through digesting properly. So the day before yesterday had gotten bad enough that we were like, what do we do? You know, you feed a baby and she spits it back up, and you feed her and she spits it back up. That's a problem. So they recommended us doing smaller amounts of feeding and shorter intervals, which we've been feeding her every 2 hours anyways. But so Katie tried that yesterday and it worked fine. She did not throw up any, and she's keeping her food down and much happier. So we are thankful for that. If it's not one thing, it's another, you know. But with the Lord's help, we're going to get through this. We're thankful to see, even in a lot of the areas that were not giving a lot of hope to us, that she's improving a lot. And like I say, she's going to therapy 2 to 3 times a week, sometimes 4 times a week, and her hands are starting to work good now. Like, she can open her hands up, move them this way, and like both elbows were totally stiff before, and they're starting to get a little movement. The right side's actually getting quite a bit of movement in it now. Her knees, now that she's out of those casts, are doing much better with bending. So the doctors are very optimistic, and the therapist even told us the other day she's done this for 40 years and she has a lot of hope for Elena. So we're encouraged to hear that. We know she may not be able to do everything. She may not be able to play the piano perfectly, or who knows, maybe she can, who knows. But it's in the Lord's hands. You know, we're wanting to get her to therapy as much as we can to give her the best shot that we can, and leave the results up to God. So let's go inside, and I'll show her to you. So here she is. What's up, big girl? So she's in her little hand braces. Every other feeding, these get rotated on and off to stretch her fingers. This stretches them out this way, and you see she's already trying to curl those fingers back in. But these have been helping her with her finger movements. And then this here is the boot and brace setup. This looks like a snowboard or something, but this is keeping her feet held in position out, so that way they don't curl back in, because they said as she grows, these can have a tendency to go back into club feet. So she'll be wearing these for 3 months solid, and then probably until she's 14 at nighttime. She'll be having to wear those, but she's doing really good. Right, big girl? Got a smile for everybody? Yeah, that's right. That little girl is such a blessing to us. Love her to death. Well, I think we're going to go wrap this video up and get busy with some farm work. I would bring you guys along, but I'm a little bit under the weather. I feel like my body's fighting something, just wiped out, tired. So I'm going to try to do as little as possible in this heat, get it done, and get into the house. So hope y'all have a fantastic day. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.